over there, trying to do 3 different things at once. That's how it always goes, isn't it? Okay, guys, it's Paint with Josh. We're back. I'm going to turn that fan off, so don't you worry about that. The sound will go away here in a second. Give me a minute. There. Yeah. Everything always happens at the end. Okay, here we go. You guys are looking fantastic. Hi there. Welcome to the show. It's Paint with Josh. I'm back in the studio with you today. Now, we've got a white canvas with nothing on it. We're going to do literally every single step. We're going to do a Smoky Mountains tutorial, very North Carolina-ish type of a painting. And the very first thing that we're going to need is our Bob Ross liquid white. If this is a literally every single step, that means we got a nice dry canvas, right? We're going to take our Bob Ross liquid white paint and we're going to get it all over this canvas. We don't need too much, right? You can always wipe it off if you think you have too much. You're going to put a big stripe across, big stripe down the middle, full pressure by the time we're over here to push it all off the brush. Then we got to mix it together and spread it across the entire canvas. You shouldn't really need more than 1 brush load's worth of paint, okay? You have too much and it's gonna be too wet, and that's no fun, not on a canvas. Not on a canvas. So we'll come over here, push it around, slide it, blend it, over here, back and forth, trying to make sure that we got every portion of our canvas. You can see we got a little bit of color in there, it's fine. That's from our painting earlier today. But we gotta make sure that we got a little bit of our color on the canvas in order for the paints to slide and blend and move. If we don't have this liquid white across every portion of our canvas, then the paints will not act the same in every portion of our canvas. We're gonna also add it around the sides of the canvas, just kind of dabbing it on. It's gonna help our color adhere to the canvas a little bit easier on this very small side. Now, the very first thing you have to do when you come in and watch a Paint with Josh show is check in. Tell me where you're watching from. What time is it where you are? See how we're like sideways on the brush? That way we can push more paint versus doing this guy, right? We're not pushing so much pressure when we have it vertical versus when we have it horizontal. So push it, slide it, blend it, and then I'm going to show you how to test and how to check it. We'll do this whole painting in under 40 minutes. That's my goal for today, under 40-minute painting for you right here in front of your very eyes. Now let's check it. We're going to touch, 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 touch. Each portion of our canvas should have enough paint on there that we can still see the dimples in the canvas, right? You can still see your fingerprints. If you don't wear gloves, you should be able to see your fingerprint. If you come out like this and you touch it and it's too goopy and too wet and too white, right? That's not gonna work. That's gonna be too much. You just need a little bit out there. Now we're gonna go into our Indian yellow. I'll go through the colors that we have. We have a 16 by 20 inch canvas. It's already wet, covered with the liquid white. I just showed you how to do it. We're also streaming over to YouTube, so you can go back over, rewatch this, whether you're watching on Facebook and TikTok, you can go watch it on YouTube. We've got Indian yellow, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna, yellow ochre, cad yellow, sap green over here, our Prussian blue, alizarin crimson, midnight black, titanium white, okay? It's actually ivory black from the gambling set, but either way, get a black paint, and then we're gonna judge, okay? Now we're gonna get our Indian yellow. We've got a very big sky painting down here. Just very flippantly, right? Slap that canvas with it, pow! I missed it, pow! We don't wanna have too much paint on the canvas is the whole goal. If we put too much up there, guess what? It's gonna grow too far. We're gonna get our yellow ochre, which is a slightly different color to the Indian yellow. And let's just pop in a darker yellowy patch right there. Bang, that's all you need. Seriously, don't do too much. Come over here, grab our crimson paint. Gonna get a little bit more of the crimson, then the yellow, and we're gonna plop it in. There. And you can tell it's mixing, it's getting very dark where it initially starts and then mixes across. Remember, our horizon for this painting is way down here, okay? So you can have a lot of color up there in your sky. We're gonna go from that color. Actually, let's wash off the brush real quick, or at least switch to a clean brush if you've got a spare. Because this guy, once we go up into our blue sky, we don't want to have any yellow on the brush to go blue and green in our sky, right? So dab it off on a paper towel. Make sure you smack the brush on a paper towel or on top of your table very roughly. And then we're going to come back in, and I'm talking about, you can see the amount of piles, right? We're going to go little, barely any blue on the brush, barely. And because our paint and our canvas is very wet and we have that initial wet base coat, all this blue will slide and blend across very easily, and it will want to overtake our scene. We don't want the blue to get anywhere near the yellow, okay? So we have to have that crimson-y patch out in our sky, just like that. Then we gotta go wash this guy off, go back and blend it, but let's get a little bit more intense. We'll put a little bit of that ivory black out here into our sky, or at least into one portion. Actually, maybe, you know what? Let's go both corners. Yes! Then we'll go back and blend all that guy together, okay? Can't necessarily do it with all this paint on the brush, so we gotta wash the brush off again. You guys gotta check in. Tell me where you're watching from. What time is it where you are right now? Right? Look at this small amount of black that we had to use for that brush. Just the littlest bit. Don't wanna have too much, but now we can't go mix it until you guys tell me where you're from. What's up, Jewel? We got 805. Where are you guys watching from? New Hampshire, right? Cool little thing out there. New York again. Do we got any North Carolinians in the place? Oh, North Carolina. This photo that we're gonna be painting is based off a picture taken from North Carolina. So if you're in North Carolina, guys, this painting is available over on my site, and it's for everyone. But if you're in North Carolina, you're gonna recognize it, or at least it should be familiar to you when you could look at it and go, ooh, that's kind of where I live, you know what I mean? So, if you're in North Carolina, I highly suggest you go over to paintwithjosh.com and purchase this painting right off the homepage before anyone else can do so. And you're gonna miss out and you'll be like, dang it, he finally painted one painting from North Carolina and I didn't get that one. Let's grab our clean, dry brush into the yellow paint, kind of dragging some of that crimson-y orange. Right? As we get in, it mixes with these two colors, and you'll start to see less of a harsh line in between the two. It's just kind of faded into that sky. Oh, it's fantastic. I want to save a little bit of my yellow down around the bottom. Don't let all that crimson-y color come down in there, but that is absolutely fabutastic, okay? We're gonna come up here. You can see, just to test, we've got some pink on the brush. That's good. By the time we come out here into our blue, we don't want to have any of that yellow, and now we don't want the blue to come down past our crimson section. The more you mix it together, right, look at that, the more it will go away. It will blend into a different color altogether, right? And that's the cool part about having this wet canvas. You can sit there and blend these colors until they're just about as soft as you can get, where you can't really tell the different lines, right? You see the difference in between the two? Isn't that amazing? So soft and beautiful. Just fabulous. Just fabulous. Right, bring it down here too. There we go. Nice low horizon of a painting out there. And then in here, we know what's gonna happen. It's gonna wanna try to grow, so I have to judge my pressure. Okay, maybe we'll let some of the blue get out there, and then we'll come back over here and grab some of the black, and we'll mix that out. And we'll maybe pull it downwards, and we'll go upwards, and we'll go side to side, and we'll just blend it until it's soft enough. Oh yes, look at that. Look at that for a sky. Okay, now, we've got to get out here with a little bit of our titanium white paint in order to have some very far away, distant clouds. Now, at this moment, all you need is a chunk of white up onto your brush. We're gonna ride on top of that crimson and up into the bluish black. Boom, just wherever, seriously. These, you don't need a whole lot of paint, you don't need a whole lot of detail, because for once, Josh is gonna put some dark, stormy clouds up in our sky, okay? The dark and the stormy. As we come out here and mix it down, right? I want to over mix this. I don't want to see very many details at all in that white portion. We want to mix it and mix it and mix it until it almost disappears, right? Can't really see much. Now we're going to come back in, and we're going to be very gentle, you guys. We're going to be very gentle on the amount of color that we load onto our little fan brush, okay? Very small amount of black, very small amount of blue. It needs to be more blue than black, so always bring your blue black over it. Bring your blue it's a tongue twister. Bring your blue, damn it, I did it again. Bring your blue back to the black pile. Okay, say that 10 times fast. We're gonna come over here. Got our blue and our black. Geez, do we have anywhere we can test it, Josh? Nope, we don't. So here we go. Let's go like this. Oh, okay, that's perfect. That's a good looking color. In fact, that's a bit too dark. We wanna have a little bit more blue. A bit more blue. There. Let's just make this weird old thing. Now, how come this guy looks like he's in front of our guy in the background? Anybody have an idea as we come up here and mix it down, right? Very light on the pressure everywhere. If I push too hard here, it's gonna grow too far, right? If I'm pushing too hard on the top, it's gonna grow too far. We just want these dark guys to just stay out there, floating around, mixing it up. We don't necessarily need them to be too faded away. And you get these cool little things that happen out here when you can have these dark bits of color. Now, one of my favorite parts about these clouds out here is that there's different little bits, like a little disconnection, like a broken little puff, which you always forget to paint, you know what I mean? Remember, nothing out there has to be perfect. We want it to be crazy. We want it to be odd. Maybe there's a whole other big bit of something down in there. Bunch of darkness above, below, around, the side, wherever we want it to be. Guys, honestly, you can do whatever you want. All you have to have is that darkness against the light to have all these different bits of depth. The more you mix it, the more it's going to mix away and become soft and faded. Right? The more we brush it out, the longer it'll get. How do you want yours to look? That's always the question. How does yours look? Okay, one more little bit. This guy, we had a whole big section come in. I don't want it to go and touch that area. Over there, like that. Just a big old puff, something, who knows? Maybe it does go touch, why not? Honestly, doesn't matter what happens. All right, if you think it's gonna look cooler if it touches, then make it touch. If you think it's gonna look neater if it doesn't touch, then put some space in between. All up to you, okay? Out there, let's go back again, a little bit more. We're gonna switch, actually, let's go back to our blue and our black, a little bit of each, right? Let's pop in just a couple, just weird things out there in the sky. Maybe there's a dot, there's something over here, there's something over there, right? Make it weird and odd, because these clouds will float around out there. They'll get disconnected from one another. They'll have these little empty areas and little space. And if you forget about it enough, right? If you're not too focused on it, then it's gonna end up looking cooler than if you were too overly focused on it, right? I'm just telling you from experience. Now, we're gonna drop down into our yellow area, in which case we don't wanna have any blue. So I don't want any green clouds in my sky. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want any green clouds out in my sky. Look at that though. Isn't that amazing? Quite literally amazing. So we're gonna come in here into our black and then our crimson, okay? So we went black and blue for the first one. We're gonna go black and crimson for this guy. And we got to mix it up, mix it up, mix it up until it's again dark. We don't want it to be pink clouds out there. We want it to be dark. Now, let's just say we just popped in a weird little shape. Ooh, see, that's pretty black out there. So I want it to be a bit more crimson-y, a bit more purple. And when you mix the crimson and the black together, you get a bit more purplish mix. Very cool. Very cool. Now again, we can come out here and mix it up. Now these guys, again, they're gonna be dark against that bright sky. That's what it's supposed to be. Trying to mess it up a little bit. Okay, it's supposed to be a different color. These guys are a little closer, they're a little lower on our horizon, and they're gonna get flatter and extend. Watch how far we can get some of this color. Just drag and 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 drag, right? It wants to grow a mile, as we like to say. So don't let it grow too stinking far. But just like that, guys, that's a wicked cool thing. None of those need highlights or any bit of white on the top. All of our light, we're remembering, is way into the background on this painting. So we're not having like a sun up here that's catching and hitting all these with light. It's already almost set into the night. Very cool. Okay, let's get back over here. Let's grab a nice little clean brush. Let's get one bit of our Indian yellow, because we always come down a bit too far. Right there. Perfect. Literally perfection. Okay, now we're gonna switch back to this crimson-y black color on the fan brush. This is a very simple painting, you guys. A lot of fan brush, a lot of 1 and 2 inch brush, and then we'll get into our other highlight brushes later on, okay? But we have all the darkness, and now it's time to start making some mountains. What do we want our mountains to look like? Let's get up here, just kind of wiggle, and pop up, pop down, pop up, pop down. It's almost a little bit too purpley, so I'm gonna get a little bit more of my blue in here. There. Pop it up, down, and up, over to the side. Okay, if you have too much paint on your brush, this is gonna grow for a mile and a half. It's gonna run and run and run and run and run. Okay, so we're gonna wipe off all, like vigorously scrubbing off all the paint that I could possibly get to come off of here. And then we can come up here and we can start sort of scrubbing it, right? We're taking this side, maybe we'll scrub it down that way. Take this side, maybe we'll scrub it down this way. Scrub it down this way, scrub it down this way. All we're trying to do is have a couple little differences. It's darker on the top, right? Lighter on the bottom because it's mixing in with our liquid white, our yellow, all these little bits out there. okay? There, make it about an inch. That's what I'm telling you. Doesn't that look cool? Of course not, Josh. That's why we come in here with our 2-inch brush, and you can either tap it, but you're gonna have to do it a lot, right? You have to tap at it a lot. So if you come up here and get some of this white on the brush, get some of the white in there. Scrub it, scrub it, scrub it, almost all the way to the top, right? Obviously not the same everywhere. If you can scrub that paint and blend it in, now you've got this white mistiness in front or at the bottom of said little guys back there, right? In which case, maybe we can now make a few more little details or come up and drag and have a couple little areas to grow for us. We don't need these guys to be too big, right? So we'll take this guy, we'll slide it off that way. And we don't necessarily need any trees on the top of these very far away guys. We're gonna put our little tree, you know, you drag them up like that. We're gonna put our little trees into the next guy. So remember, grab from the bottom, work that brightness up. So we're working the bright up into the color, grab at the bottom, work it up. Grab at the bottom, work it up. All this stuff can be blended out and taken care of by the time we get down there, right? We're only focusing on those little guys. Then we can come in again, that same mixture, our crimson, a little bit of blue, a little bit of a black, just like that. And we'll drop down over here, right underneath, bang, into that misty area, okay? Now, determining how much mist to leave, that's all on you, right? How much do you want to leave up there? How much gap in between do you want to have yours, okay? Same thing, we're gonna come up here, we're gonna grab it with that 1-inch brush and let's pull it down and away. Right, maybe this side's flowing onto the inside. That guy's going the other way. We're pulling it here. Maybe we crisscross and pull it there. Maybe there's a little smiley face of a valley in between in that little guy. You never know until you get out there and do it. Right, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it. Now, with any amount of paint on the top of these little guys, you can very lightly just drag up such a small little thing. It's a really cool little detail though by the time you get done doing it. Always look neat. Now, let's go wash this brush off because we got a fair amount of paint on it. And the more paint that we have on the brush, the more we're just going to continue to drop off and drop off and drop off. So let's get that paint, come up here, we'll start mixing it again. All right, you see how now that it doesn't have any paint on it, we can almost erase that color because it's mixing in with that liquid white, liquid white, liquid white, liquid white the whole time, mixing in, mixing in, mixing in. Where do you want to have it? Maybe this guy, we slide him out this way. This guy, we push it out that way. All we're doing is creating little themes, different directions, little hills, little here, little there, wherever. Right? It doesn't really matter what it looks like. I'm gonna get a little bit more blue and black into my brush on this guy, just to have it change. Right? Let's come down this way. A bluey color in there. Those Smoky Mountains really like to have some blue in them, I'm telling you. A little bit more black, a little bit more crimson, because now it's just too blue. So we can come up, change that color. Right? Pop up, go down. Have these little imperfections, these little dips and bobs and things where they're not all the same height, right? Pulling down in different directions. Now this guy, we could have on a little hill, so we can almost imagine dragging the color out. Going down, going down, going down. Over here, right? Just filling in some space for our other brush. That's all we're really doing. You can come up here and grab it with a lot of force, push on it, right? Grab this guy with some force, drag him down this way. That guy with some force, pull him down that way. Right? The more that we mix in with these little things, the closer they're going to become to us. Okay, so we'll pull down, maybe cutting through, putting some distance back in there. Maybe again, sliding down. This whole thing can slide all the same direction if you want. Honestly, it really can. Mix it up along the bottom, and now we're ready for our foreground, you guys. Isn't that such a simple little painting? Nice little easy little thing out there in the night. You can even get very small little drags up on our trees off in the distance, right? And get all those little tree top covered things. Just don't make them too big. Make them too big, it brings everything too close. We don't necessarily want to have everything so close. Again, we can choose how bright or to get rid of by mixing it up on everything, you guys. Literally everything we can do. Okay. Now, let's mix up our big dark pile of paint. It's only been 20 minutes since we started the show, and we're nearly finished, just like I said we would be. Didn't I? Didn't I say that? Didn't I say we'd be almost done at 40 minutes? Bang. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, everything in this painting, right? As we get closer to us, you always start in the center being the most furthest away area, and as we get closer to us, everything gets bigger along the sides of the canvas, okay? So what we have to do now in order to project those hills further into the distance is start up at a higher point and come down to a lower point. and then back up to a higher point, cutting through this, you know what I mean? These empty areas. And we're gonna make a little bit of a check mark down there. Now, how are we gonna do that? That all depends. What should we do? You could either start making small little foreground or midground details, or you can jump right to the foreground and push everything back into the distance. It's all up to you. And literally, whatever you want to do, you can do, okay? What we're gonna do now is we're gonna make up our plaque mix, and then we're gonna add our Van Dyke brown, turning our plaque into brack. That's it, you guessed it, brack. It's a very dark brownish blackish paint now, right? And that's going to help versus just being the pure black or pure plaque by the time we get up to the front. Now, let's just say, okay, let's try this out. Let's get a little bit on our fan brush, wiggling it down, wiggling it down, wiggling it down. Little things, and we'll start out here, and let's just start making like little bits of forest. You gotta pop down though, right? You can't just have them out there and then not come down this way. Same thing, you gotta have enough paint on the brush, or the right brush, in order to keep them from becoming too dull, like too non-sharp, right? Now, you don't ever have to do everything. You don't always and never have to do whatever. You don't have to even follow along the tutorial like we do it over here. But just like that, okay? Let's take our 1-inch brush or 2-inch brush, whichever one you have. Drag it up from the bottom. There we go. Perfect. Now we're gonna make some mist in here, so we're hitting it, tapping it down. See some of that color come down that way? We come up in here, we hit it, we tap it down again. Come up in here, we hit it, we tap it down again. Come up in here, we hit it, tap it down. Hit it, tap it down, tap it down, tap it down, tap it down. The more that you tap it, the softer it becomes in its color and its texture, meaning that we can then go back and add another section of forest or something else in front of it. We need to get a little taller up here. There we go. Yeah. All right, it's gonna come down, down, down. That guy. There we go. Sometimes you gotta cover up more than you want in order to help project that distance back there. All right. Correct or no? You tell me. Didn't really want to go all the way up the side of the canvas on this one, but that's what happened. That's how it happened. All right, and that's a little forest off in the background. That's all you need. So you can then add foreground stuff to him. All right, the more you add into the foreground, the more cool little bits, different things, because you have this added background color back there, okay? Now, let's go along, might as well, let's finish it over here. We're gonna leave the bottom sort of empty, okay? So we're gonna come back in, and we're gonna do bushes and all sorts of stuff down around here at the bottom. So we don't need to do too much, okay? That guy over there, gorgeous. Okay, now, let's go back. And we'll come over on this side. Maybe this side doesn't have to be so stinking tall, okay? Come over here, start tapping it in, get lower and lower into the mist, the misty area down here where they're gonna project that distance, okay? Just like that. Gorgeous, don't even need too much more than that. Too much more than that, we're not gonna like it, I'm telling you. Okay, we're gonna come over here, tapping it up as we go, as we go, as we go, as we go, as we go. Gorgeous. Fabulous, you guys, I like it, right? Again, we are determining each time what we want our trees to look like, how bright, how dark, how thick, how far away, how close are they, all right? It's all up to us every time that we go to do it. I also have a very similar painting to this one that I taught in a class earlier today. It's what gave me the idea to do this painting today. So if you head over to paintwithjosh.com, you can get a less expensive version of this guy, right? That's what this is. There. There. Again, tapping into it and then tapping it down. All we're trying to do is get some of that dark color to fill its way down and down and down. And only really reveal the top inch to 1.5 inches of our trees. Right? So it's only about this much space in between, like we're using scissors. Chop, 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 chop. Right? Oh God, that looks even cooler than the one we did this morning. Well, earlier today, it was like 2 o'clock my time. We did a class out there, right? The more that we mix it, the more you can't tell where the base of these little guys are, right? All these little things out there, my friends. My friends. I smell a huge tree, you for sure do. It's coming, don't you worry. All right, let's get in here again. We're gonna mix up some of our brown, some of our black, crimson, and blue. And we're gonna launch in a bunch of bushes, okay? trees, foreground stuff right here. So we'll have this little difference in our plaque mix with our brack, that brown in there, and the crimson, and the blue, and the black. Okay? Make it all up, make it all nasty. Now, oh boy, oh to the boy. This one's gonna be fun. Okay, let's just say we've got out here our big old Paint with Josh round brush, and we're gonna pop right into the heaviest part of the pile. Not pulling it out down here like we do with our other brushes, right into the thickest part. Bang, right there. Look at all that chunk. Oh, chunk. Look at it. Oh, see how you stay into that mist? Little misty area back there, projecting some distance in between our bushes. Maybe this guy comes down, he's out that side, and we fill in this whole space. Now we're way up here in our foreground. We don't need anything else to help us project distance. We're way up into the front, okay? Then we'll go back, we'll highlight all these little gorgeous little things. Right, maybe we had, again, into the mist. Don't try to go up into the bush, or into the trees. We created that mist for a reason. Right, come down here, whoop, just like that, creating a little bit of a projection up in front of that lighter color, and it's gonna help project your distance, you guys. Now, don't just keep mushing it. Try to go back and get more paint so you have that texture. This is why we used our fan brush back here versus a palette tool. This is why we pushed everything so far into the distance, because we need to have all this texture up front. And if we mush all the texture and take it all away, then it's gonna look like our trees back here, or our mountains, or our mountain, you know what I mean? So you gotta have that difference in texture. That's why we're always very rough with the clouds. We blend them up real good so they are off in the distance, right? So they don't get too close to us. Okay, now let's get on the Paint with Josh. You know what, we gotta make up some more of our plaque mix real quick, you guys. We gotta throw down on the plaque mix real fast. Okay. Now I'm gonna get out a little bit of my Van Dyke brown as well, because we're running short on that. I need some of my sap green as well, so if you need to get your sap green out, get it out now. Sap green and our cad yellow and our yellow ochre are going to be our highlight colors. You can also go with red if you wanted some red, or some crimsony, pinky flowers. You can do purpley flowers. You can do blue flowers. Do whatever color you want, right? It's all up to you guys. Now remember, if you purchase this painting during the live show, you not only get the painting, but you get to spin the wheel of spinniness and win a free gift. Could be anything from a Paint with Josh poster, a puzzle, a t-shirt, a hat. Could be the grand prize, which is a Paint with Josh backpack. Right? Whatever it is, you got to grab this painting in order to be able to spin the wheel, and you got to do it during the live show. Otherwise, it just doesn't count. It doesn't count. There we go. Okay. Now, let's take some of our Van Dyke brown. Like I said, we grabbed out of our paint pile, right? So we got our Van Dyke brown over here. That's the deepest, darkest brown. Then we got a bit of black and a bit of crimson. No blue. No blue in this mix. Just some brown and crimson and black. A little bit, 20, like 40% brown, 40% crimson, 20% black. 2 to 2 to 1. And we'll make that big old pile. Woo! He's massive. Yeah! This is a big old pile of paint. Now we're gonna start dropping in some foreground on top of all this other stuff back there. Okay, so we'll mix it down, wiggling it, turn it into a little weave. Look at that. Pay for that. I'd pay for that. Come over here like this, wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it, trying to attach paint onto it, trying to almost scoop it up. And then let's say we gotta have some foreground or something back here. What if we did just a little old tree right there? Bang, one little tree. We're gonna hold the brush tilting towards the canvas. So imagine you're holding a big plate and all of a sudden it starts to tip towards the canvas, right? We're gonna stop that tip right at the edge before everything falls off. And we're going to mush on it, back and forth, back and forth. Each time that we go down, we're pushing harder onto the canvas and extending out wider and wider and wider, creating little trees and little things and little bits and stuff, right? It's all it does. What do we want it to look like? Up to us. How big? How thick? How far do you want your branches to extend? Again, up to you. You're in control of your own painting, right? What if we did, just to get a little sticky friend? Bang, just a little tree trunk of a friend popping out over there, right? Or you come back in and you make your bushes and you make your foliage on there, right? And smacking against the canvas, just like that. Creating all these little weird bits along the outside, going back and forth and back and forth. It's literally it. Bang, dropping on all that chunk, okay? Now, since we've got a little bit more, why not? We'll do one more bigger guy over here. Boom, right down here. Now, you don't necessarily have to make your trunk fill all the way down. It's just a visual reference for us. So again, we're coming in, tapping, 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 tapping. Right now, if I wanted to make a tree where I'm exposing my trunk, all right, does my trunk feel frisky? Then I'm gonna wanna actually make it dark so I can leave some exposed areas, okay? So I'm out here, I'm out there, we're getting bigger. Maybe we drop down a section, create like a little eagle's nest on our little branch. And again, dropping down below that guy, maybe pop out a little bit more. Not every place has to be exact, right? You have to project some distance back there by allowing things to cover other things. If we're not covering other things, then what the heck are we doing? A little bit more on this guy. There, I just didn't like so much of his trunk showing. Very cool. We'll have some trunk down here that's leading down into our bushes, kind of living up here in the foreground. Very, very, very neat. Now, this paint is very thick, so if I wanted to make like a little small little shtick, right, it's not really gonna do anything across all that wet paint unless I grab my odorless mineral spirits. So I just kind of dip the brush into the odorless mineral spirits, and now it's much more wet, as you can see. I don't want to make trees like this out of this very wet stuff. I just want to make some sticks. Just a little stick popping up over there. Maybe there's one over here, right? But you have to have that extremely wet paint in order to have it come off of the brush and not be too stinking big, right? It's little sticks that are coming out, right? You can always, if you don't like them, you can always go back and add your branches to them, or add some branches that come off of them or something. But there's a lot of just literally straight up sticks out there in the forest, okay? Now we're gonna take one more tree on this side. That's my thought, since we have all this excess paint, okay? We'll take this guy, we'll make a big old section over here. So wiggle it down, wiggle it down, wiggle it down. Doesn't necessarily have to be taller than this. You just don't want it exactly the same height. Oh, you guys, I just had a better idea. Hang on. Yep, that's what we're doing. Straight down from the top, full pressure. Boom, right there. Full pressure on the brush, full pressure on the canvas. Make it big, make it thick, make it come down, right? The taller it is over here, the more it's gonna, more like we're underneath it, you know what I mean? If we can see the top, that one's a bit further away. This one's obviously closer because it spans the canvas from top to bottom. And we're gonna come back in here, we're gonna do a smaller one, so less pressure. It's still top to bottom, but it's less pressure. So he's not as big, he's not as thick, maybe he's not as close. All up to us and how we wanna do it. Now we're gonna get our little brush out, our little liner brush. We're gonna go into our odorless mineral spirits, which is our brush cleaner, and then we're going to make a little pile of supremely wet paint right here. Just a supremely wet pile. In this case, if you wanted to make little branches that came off of your mountain or your trees or whatever, you could do that, right? It's up to you in what you want your little sticks to look like. If you want them to just be straight, have them just be straight. You want them to have a little branch here, maybe something that came off. It's up to us how these little sticks look. Not everyone out there is gonna have all the branches that you think that they're gonna have. Just telling you from experience, okay? So off this big guy, come out there, and launch out from here, kind of pushing full onto the canvas, and then bouncing it. Bounce it, bounce it, bounce it, right? We're not gonna see the end of this. It's all gonna be covered up. All the 96% of all of these branches that we're just painting on right now are going to be covered up by some foliage, right? If you don't want to cover it with foliage because you think it looks fantastic the way it is right there, then absolutely don't have to do anything you don't want to do, of course, right? Come over here, wiggle it through. Maybe there's another one right there, kind of going off. Maybe this guy has a couple, but back here, they're all gonna get covered up, guys, literally. So unless you're going to not do this next step, then don't add too many branches to your little tree, okay? We're gonna go on the side of the Paint with Josh bush brush, right there. Kind of scooping it up on the side of it. See how there's like almost a flat line right here on the edge, just like a fan brush would be. So I'm gonna take that flat line, we're gonna hold the brush on the side like this, and we're gonna start to tap out on these little guys, right? Little things here, there, wherever, okay? At the very top, it is fully covered. Leave a gap in between and you're gonna love it, okay? If you don't leave a gap in between, you're gonna be like, I should have listened to Josh and left the gap up there. Little things, little bits, cut across. Maybe there's a bit of branch right here that we didn't even see because we didn't paint it, right? We didn't do that initially, but maybe there was a branch there And there is for sure now because we've got some foliage bits, okay? Very cool, you guys, honestly. You can have it look exactly how you like. And then we'll go back and we'll highlight these guys, we'll highlight some of these other guys, and then we'll be all set-a-rooski. So, what are we looking at as far as time-wise? Uh-oh, I am not gonna be finished in my time slot. Mainly because we did way more details in this one than we did our other one. By the way, if you want to get, this one's number 1,898 paintings that we've ever done. I just did 1,897, and it's much less than this, guys. So if you want to grab that, you can head over to paintwithjosh.com, just type in that number, 1897 or 1898, and it'll pull up either of these two paintings that you could do all sorts of gorgeousness with. I just know you guys are going to have it looking fantastic. All right, before we get too far ahead or cover up something that we don't want to, let's get out here and go caw-caw with the little bird family out there in the sky already. Okay, wipe off this brush, and we'll go clean off this brush. And you guys are going to have to start coming up with a title for this painting. Remember, if you purchase it, you get to pick the title forever. It becomes your painting and you're in control of what the title will be. All right? If I'm doing it, or if nobody purchases this painting, then we need to come up with it as a group. So let's come up with it as a group. You guys start typing in your suggestions of what you would call it, right? And then we'll be awesome. Look at that, dude. That's a painting right there. This painting is sold. Hey, that means I don't have to come up with a title now. Boom! That's excellent. Excellent, excellent. Now remember, if this one's gone, then now you have to go find 1897, which is this sister painting. Not as many details, so it's less. That's awesome. Who got this painting? That's my question. Was it somebody from North Carolina? Because it was somebody from North Carolina. That's really gonna make me happy. Okay, let's get over here and start throwing on some highlights, guys. Throw some highlights onto this bad boy. Now, I also had a thought when I was doing my class earlier that this painting looks cool as a silhouette where everything is dark. You know what I mean? The more brightness that we add, the more it's going to make our... Me? Who's that? Debbie? Thank you. You give me every time with these beautiful colors. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. But the more brightness that we add to this, the less depthful it's going to seem, right? Like you could literally think in your head, that's what it would look like out there. There's a touch of brown, there's some color. It's just, we're looking, you know, at the sun that's very far away and already behind the horizon. So literally, how much light do you need on your trees? That's up to you, right? Do you want to have them where there's tons of highlights and they're really bright? Do you want to have it where there's just a couple little highlights on there and we don't have too many? So we're going to get our liquid white, run it through, kind of pushing it into the pile, right? We're not dragging it out flat. We want that texture on there. I want some yellow on there too. There, right? It's very wet, this paint. So if you can, just tap it off very lightly and not cover every single spot of darkness, having to turn the brush over to maintain that bright color on it. And as we get up the shadowy side, we're not using any more brightness. We're not adding any extra paint. We're just making it a little bit greeny on that side as it goes. All right, little touch, and you can always go back in and dull them down, but don't have too many bright areas and don't hit the same place too many times, okay? Oh, son of a, there we go. I caught it. I caught it. That's cool right there. That's cool. All right, now, I'm going to show you again. So I hope you're paying attention, okay? I'm going to take our liquid white paint, which is very runny. It's the base coat that we put for our canvas out there. Very runny kind of a paint. I'm going to run it through, not run it through, but plunge it into the green. Come over here, plunge it into the yellow, not dragging it, right? No, don't do that. Plunge it. Get some of that extra wet paint on there. And then when you touch it, it should deposit very easily. If it does not deposit very easily, then you know that your mixture is off. Now remember, we don't need to get bright down around the bottom in the back of our tree. Okay, so you can always go back over it, the clean dry brush, and get rid of colors that you don't want to see. Remembering that we cannot see every part of these trees. It's dark. It's getting dark. We cannot see the trees. The light will soon be gone. We will be in the pitch blackness. The pitch blackness of the Smoky Mountains, which I'm assuming it gets scary out there when it's dark. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm a big baby. But the woods in the dark, there's too many movies about that, bro. Too many movies about that for me. Come over here and tap, 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 tap. Little things, remember, get less and less and less. You don't even have to do the whole tree, guys. That's the best part. On a sunset painting, you do not have to cover everything. We don't want to see every branch on every single tree. We don't want to see it as brightly as every other branch on every other tree. All right? Bang, right there. Oh, anywhere that's real bright, just go back over and dab it until you like it, right? Of course, there's got to be some bright spaces, and there's got to be some dark spaces, and then there's got to be some instantly dark, dark, dark spaces, okay? But you got to have that bright too. There. Fabulous. You guys, there we go. A couple little, it's like a very straight line there, just to have it not be a straight line right there. Okay, now we got this big guy that we're going to be highlighting with our bush brush, and then we'll be all set, guys. So you better start hitting me with a title on what we're going to call this thing. Tell me now. All right, and this is what I'm telling you. I tapped in the brush just on the one side so I could come up here and just get my paint on the one side, exactly how we had dropped it off. And then again, the lightest touch, the smallest things, right? You put on too much out here, or you push too hard, or you cover too many things, and it's not gonna look right, you guys, right? If it's too bright, no one's gonna like it. If it's too dark, no one's gonna like it. You gotta get in there and make sure that you're not covering everything, right? That you're leaving some dark spaces, but you're also making it bright enough for us to see. Gotta be able to see it. And remember, it does not have to be the brightest thing you've ever seen, because it's nighttime out. Daytime, nighttime. You know the difference. Okay, now we're gonna grab our liquid white, and we're going to grab our bush brush or our oval brush, whichever one you want to use. All right, bushy brush, oval brush, doesn't matter what brush, just grab a brush and get on a rush. Hurry up and grab that brush so we can rush and get some bush. I don't know, whatever it is. Okay, let's get our liquid white. Now here is your problem, okay? You're not using enough liquid white, okay? You're not plunging enough into the thick pile. You know what I mean? How many different colors can we get on that brush by plunging into it like that, right? Getting all that paint to mix, getting rid of the white, making the green and yellow a much more, how would you say, sloppy version of itself, right? And that way we can come down and cut through. Little things, touching little places. Not everywhere has to be the same amount of brightness. Or vice versa, the same color. So if you're going all green, maybe pop over this side, add a couple little bits over here. Leaving space in between, turning our brush, not filling everything, right? And wipe it off or wash it off, go back and grab some yellow to put on top of those greens, and it will make them even more vibrant. Right? The vibrate, vibrancy. Yeah, that's the right word. Yeah, vibrancy. Yes, 1,000,000% the correct word. Okay, our yellows, 2 yellows, again, mushing them so you have that texture. By the way, hi, I'm Paint with Josh. I don't know if you've ever seen me before. You might only recognize the back of my hand and my black gloves. Right? Maybe, you never know. A couple little bits. Little things, right? Nothing out there has to be overly filled or all the same or whatever. Right? It's up to us. You want some yellow bits up here, pop them up there, maybe down in there. I'm just trying not to cover every place, because if we cover every place with color, guess who's not going to like it? You. You aren't going to like it. Not me. You're going to send it to me, and I'm going to go, oh, wow, I love the colors you used on that. That's awesome. But you're going to know that you covered up too much darkness, too much depth, right? So be mindful. Try to leave the dark spaces. I always say, you guys, I'd rather have you have silhouettes, dark black silhouettes versus something that's too bright. If it's too bright, you're not gonna like it. Not me, you. you're gonna look at it and go, why does this look weird? Why is it flat? Why doesn't it look like Josh's? Well, you add it, and that's way too much white. Goodness gracious. You get a bit of my light brown and dark brown to fight that color. There we go. There, right? And be like, why doesn't mine look like Josh's? Well, you gotta leave those dark areas. Look at that. Grab a little bit of our yellow ochre too. Mix it into that wooden brownie color. Fabulous, a little bit more of my dark brown. I don't even need this much paint. I'm just trying to make the right color. There, dark, light. That's all we need. Okay, let's do the light first. Scrape up a little bit. So you got a little roll of your paint, right? Let's come along this big guy and just tap at it and go down. Tap, 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 all the way down. Right? Each time we tap at it, it's gonna drop off the light color. It's gonna start to pick up the dark color. Okay, so eventually, if you keep tapping at it, all the light will go dark. And that's not something that you want. Okay, on this side, again, just tap, 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 tap. Whatever comes off, comes off. You'll have a bit of texture. You only need a small amount. And remember, don't cover the back half, that dark side. Don't do it. If you do, right, you've got to come back in with your dark texture and make sure that you have some form of roundness. If there's too much of the light brown, then you've lost the round. The round comes from the black, the dark, the stuff. All right, these guys are probably too small to see any brown highlights on, but this guy, my friend, you can tap onto his little butt right there, right? Just a little bit. Don't need too much. All right, does anybody see where there's missing? Right here, of course. Little boop, one little bit of brown is gonna help you. I'm telling yous. If I ain't done told you once, told you a million times now. That's a gorgeous painting. Okay, you guys come up with a title. What are we gonna call that, my friends? And then our final thing that we do with our palette tool is into the dark area, scrape, scrape. See that? And we're literally making little sticks come out of there, holding up these little flowers, holding up these little flowers. Right? Not everyone needs to all be vertical or all going the same direction, but they're coming out of the dark areas, they're holding up places. Right? Some of the times to really project distance, watch this. Oh, you might hate me, but here we go. Whoop, right up through about that high. We'll project more distance, okay? Come in here, aim for your dark spaces. Well, what if I don't have any dark spaces, Josh? Well, then you didn't listen to me when I told you to leave your dark areas. Now, did you? Did you listen or didn't you listen? Got one more little space down here we can fill in. Right there. Fabulous. Now, you gotta come up with a title for this one, okay? Tell me what we're gonna call it. What should we name it? 48-minute painting right there. Fabulous. Fabulous. And we're gonna go back and we're gonna sign it with our liquid white because the liquid white is already very runny. It's already very wet. So if we can get over here, maybe attach on to one of our sticks and twigs. Right there. Toss the old JK in. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay. You guys, all right, come up with a title, and then our purchaser gets to choose the title. I think she's watching over on TikTok, so all you TikTokers over there, start typing out what you want to call this painting. Let her know, because she gets to choose. That's the deal that we make. She chooses the title if she gets it during the live show. That's how it works. That's how it goes down. Really clean that guy off. Yeah, perfect. Wipe down the palette. And you guys start coming up with a title. Look at all this. Ugh, all that brown. I'm like, Josh, why didn't you save that? We can make it up again later. You know what I mean? I paint so much. And I'm probably not coming back for a second show today because you guys know me, it's my Friday. It's my Friday, which means I get lazy. Because I've already done 9 shows for you this week and I painted a class painting. So that's 10 paintings this week already. 10 paintings in 5 days, you start to run out of ideas and you start to run out of the will to come up with something new, right? So I've given you 10 paintings this week that you guys can go learn from. 5 of them are over on my YouTube. 5 of them are over on TikTok and on YouTube. I am releasing a brand new tutorial. It's a beach tutorial. I zoom in. I spent a lot of time editing this one because I know I've gotten lazy about my tutorials and I've just been putting out all the live stuff with no edits. And so every time I come up with the brush It'll zoom in so you can see full screen what we're gonna do. So I hope you guys are excited to paint an ocean scene on Wednesday. It'll be out at like, I don't know, 7 in the morning, something like that, West Coast time. So just keep refreshing your YouTube. Make sure you follow me. Make sure you hit that bell. That way we'll be notified when I do drop new stuff that you can go learn to watch and learn, right? Watch and learn. Smoky Mountain Sunrise. That's a cool title, you guys. Yeah. My voice is going already. Yeah, guys. There we go. All right, Smoky Mountain. Hang on. Smoky Mountain Sunrise. Paint the top of the canvas. This is how we do it. It's legit how we do it. Just rub the paint that's already there across the top, and you're all set. Over here. Perfect. This one, number 1898, 97, 98. What is it? I don't even have my thing. Guys, mods. Smoky Mountain Sunrise is the title. All right, so we'll go over here. We'll go Smoky Mountain Sunrise, like Jonathan Everly would say. Painted on 6/16/2024. We're all gonna go to paintwithjosh.com because it's the best place of all time. Mods number? Anybody? 1898. Thank you. Appreciate it. 1898. Okay. Right on, guys. So, I'm going to end the stream over on YouTube and on Facebook. I very much appreciate you guys hanging out with me and watching. I know how easy it is to swipe away and never come back. Ne'er e'er return. So, thank you guys for being here. Thanks for watching. I love y'all on Facebook and on YouTube. Be sure you send in your versions of this painting to my Facebook at Official Paint with Josh or my Instagram at Paint with Josh K. I love you guys, and until I see you guys again next time, take care. Shit. Have the rest of a good day, and blah, blah.